Somebody will never leave you. God only knows what you've been through. God only knows what they say about you. God only knows how it's killing you. Somebody will never leave. God only knows. God only knows what you've been through.
All right. Hey, good morning, everybody.
They say about you, but God only knows the real you. There's a kind of love that God only knows.
Welcome to the hallway. I hope today finds you in great success. I wanted to share with you a little bit today. Been looking at some of the comments, whether it be on YouTube or private message, and wanted to share with you a little bit of an insight of what the hallway series is. The hallway is this metaphor, this place that we all live in. And it comes from Joseph Campbell's hero's journey. Now, when I talk about the hallway, I'm talking about the space between when we say we want something and the moment we arrive at that thing. Because soon as we arrive at that thing, we're in a new hallway. And this hallway, this space that we spend time in, because we don't spend time rethinking of the goal. We spend time of thinking how to acquire the goal. And anytime we spend in that space of desire, of wanting, of wishing, of action, of growth, of buying a new book or going to a new program or traveling to an event, is the hallway. And a lot of people will have a certain level of refusal when it comes to paying attention to the hallway. Why? Because we've been in one since the moment of our awareness, since the moment we had our first desire. Oh, if I could just get that toy for Christmas, if I could just get that candy in the grocery store. It's always a hallway. And the disappointing part of when we were told, you're not getting anything right now, you're not getting that, we don't have money for that, all of that stuff, forced us to live longer in our hallway because we wanted the thing. Then we go to school and we want to be in that group, or we want to get good grades, and we're in a hallway. Soon as we graduate third grade, we're in the summer of fourth grade. We talk about it, and some of our friends, 99.9% of our friends all made it to fourth grade, and we're no longer in third grade. We've entered into a new place. And even though we graduate and move into fourth grade, we're still not fifth graders. And every time we elevate, we have something to compare ourselves to, that we're at the bottom of the floor. So this whole idea of the hallway is for us to begin to visualize what holds us stuck. What keeps us from getting out of the hallway? Well, there's the excitement of when we get into it, of when we get into that new place, when we get into that new space, when we get into this place that we're going to focus on this. I'm going to get to the next rank in my business. I'm going to lose this amount of weight. I'm going to get my blood sugar down to X. I'm going to, whatever it is, I'm going to drink 60 ounces of water a day. I'm going to walk 5 minutes, 20 minutes every day. Every goal we have puts us in a hallway. It puts us in an awareness between where we are and where we want to arrive. Now, all of the examples and metaphors of the things that we talk about inside the hallway, the furniture that's in the hallway. If you think of a hallway in your house right now, there's a hallway. There's a place where it transitions from a room into a narrow corridor on the way to another room or on the way to multiple rooms. In that hallway, you've put up some decorations, maybe. If it's a rental, you probably haven't put up any decorations. You're not allowed to nail anything to the wall. Most people's dreams, most people's goals are rentals. They're fearful of attaching something to the wall. Those things we've been thinking about and dreaming about for a long time, those things that are part of our comfort zone. The comfort zone is a place where you're comfortable. Some people have hallways that are extremely uncomfortable. The job they're in, the relationship they're in, the income level they're at. That's a hallway. And the faster you can put that visual into effect, you'll realize that your comfort zone is a place you've decorated. Hang with me for just a moment. A comfort zone is a zone you don't belong in. Right? It's why we always talk about, I need to get out of my hallway. What if you changed comfort zone to hallway? Well, all this came about when I started to ask, well, how does something get comfortable? I know that in the homes I've had, in the places we've constructed, the foundation was there, the walls were there. And when you go to buy a house, when you go to buy an idea, when you go to buy a dream, which a profession that I'm a part of, network marketing, or MLM, mentors leading mentors, you walk into somebody else's dream on a regular basis. You walk into somebody else's home on a regular basis, and they show you what they have on their walls. Here's my rank, Grand Poobah. Here's the trip that I went on. Here's the size of my organization. Here's the fill in the blank. All that to say, you buy the dream, you go, oh, I would like that. And you take pictures, mental imagery of their success, and you bring it back to your comfort zone, your hallway, and you hang it on the wall. Now, if you've been inside of this hallway of yours for a long time, you started to build rooms off of the hallway. Rooms like trying. I'm trying. I'm not good enough yet. That's another room. Maybe tomorrow. Then there's the room inside of the trying room that's, I need to be smarter. I need to be better. I need to be fill in the blank. And all of a sudden, a hallway starts turning into a home. And it was never designed for that. There was never enough space for that. And it gets a little bit more challenging. You'll invite people over to your hallway. Let's get an accountability group together. Did you ever hear people get an accountability group together? We're going to work on it together. We're going to hold each other accountable. I'm going to go into your hallway. You're going to go into mine. And the challenge is that when you invite new guests into your hallway, to your comfort zone, to your accountability room, they can see all of the decorations. They can see all of the things that you've put in there. A lot of it looks like theirs, but their stuff is stuff and your stuff is a distraction. So there's this unwritten rule if we're going to talk about comfort zones. I won't make you feel bad for being in yours if you won't make me feel bad for being in mine. And now the laziness starts. Now the confusion starts. And then maybe they excel, maybe they exceed their expectations, and they leave their hallway and they go to the next rank. They leave their hallway and they lose the 20 pounds they've been trying to lose. They lose their hallway, they leave their hallway, and they get the promotion at the job that they said they were going to go after. And you go back into your hallway and find the room that says, I'm not good enough. And you start looking at the furniture there, AKA the evidence there. Now, here's the thing about furniture. The last move we had from Dallas up here to the ranch, I didn't physically pick up a lot of the furniture. I packed a lot of it. We hired a company to load it into a truck that I drove up here. Then I drove our furniture, my furniture, up from Dallas up here to the ranch and put it in storage. And now 4 years living on the ranch, there's still some stuff in storage. And when we go, oh man, I would really like that. Yeah, it's in storage. We don't have room yet. My question to you is this: how many of you have your dreams in storage and your current hallway doesn't afford you the room to bring in the new ideas, to bring in the new beliefs, to bring in the new level of income? Because that's the only thing that's stopping you, is you staying in this current hallway. Now, here's the thing: most people, most trainers, most team leaders will not, they don't understand it. They say, find your why, get clear on your why. That's not a problem. That's a good thing. The challenge is when you present your why to your metaphorical guard at the door, you realize there's a guard at the door to your success. Yes or yes? See, that guard, well, let me ask you this. Let me clear this up. Do we station a guard at a door that's safe, at a door that's comfortable, at a door that's non-threatening, whether it be threatening to you or threatening to the people on the other side of the door? So every time we set a goal, a guard is stationed at the door. Now, why would we ever put a guard at a door? You need to hear this. Why would we ever put a guard at a door that we know is the place we want to get to? It doesn't make any sense. The reason that a guard is instantly installed at any one of our future goals is because we heard a story about somebody else who had a goal similar or exactly like it that got hurt. We look in network marketing. People have lost, some of the most successful people were broke, were living in a basement, were living with their parents, and they were full-grown adults with 2 kids. There was a struggle that most people would not like to replicate. So you know what happens when we hear the stories of what it took for them to become successful, what it took for them to get to the next level? A guard gets stationed at our door. And the guard is there to keep you safe so you don't get hurt, which is why you stay in a comfort zone so you don't get hurt. Well, but Sean, that doesn't make sense. Why? The guard was never ours. The guard got installed because our nervous system said, well, I don't want to have to go through that pain. Yeah, but I'm in pain now. Yeah, but the pain you're going to arrive at, the new story you're going to have to come up with, the people you're going to make feel bad, the people you're going to embarrass, all of the things that are at a subconscious level are at the guard. So then we think, okay, I'm going to be in my hallway. I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. I'm going to do my work. I'm going to talk to 20 people a day. I'm going to write my goals out. I'm going to write my dreams out. And we try to out hustle the guard. How's that been working for you? You cannot out hustle the guard. Why? Because the guard is doing nothing but standing at the door. You're not in a race with the guard. You're not in a race with your old story. You're not in a race that you can win. You have to outrank the guard. You know, in TV shows, where there's the local police and there's some kind of an incident that happened, they're on the crime scene at the local place. And because it was involved a particular individual, it was across state, whatever it was this thing where all of a sudden the local police were told to stand down because the FBI came in. And with a single flash of a badge, they outranked everyone there. And then maybe the FBI is there, and then maybe somebody from the CIA comes in and they flash a badge, and their badge is even smaller, yet it carries more weight. And now the person from the CIA is now in charge. None of them had to out hustle the other. They had to outrank the other. So, how do you outrank the guard at the end of the hallway? You have to show consistency. You have to prove confidence. You have to prove ability. It's why many of us, when we watch other people, as Wallace D. Wattles would say, even blockheads can get rich. We watch these blockheads get rich. We watch these people who just get started get rich. We watch these other people blow through their hallways and arrive at levels of success we want. And we think, what the heck? And the reality is they outranked the guard. Ignorance on fire is better than knowledge on ice. Light yourself on fire. They'll come from miles to watch you burn. Your enthusiasm, the entheos, the God within, the spirit within, the fire within, your definite major purpose, your clarity, your non-stoppability. You outranked the guard. And I know in the profession, I've said it from many stages around the world, and I was part of the problem. If you stay in long enough, you'll win. Sometimes your guard just dies. It just dies. How many times have we heard people tell stories about when somebody close to them passed away and they said, I'm free now? There was some boogaboo between that relationship. So all of this to say, this series on the hallway is about the furniture that's in your hall, whether it be pictures or diplomas or the lanyards from every event, that box that proves we've tried, that box that says all of your journals, all of your books, it says, I'm going for it. I'm putting in the effort. It's all spinning your wheels in your comfort zone until you can outrank the guard. That's when your definite major purpose, your daily actions, your daily intention. Most people don't want to do that. They say it's boring because it takes effort to outrank a guard that was never our guard to begin with. If today you did one thing and you asked the guard, the metaphorical guard, the magical guard, the mystical person, the mystical energy, what is keeping me from my next level of income? Now, you've got enough responses to make you the problem. I'm not good enough. I'm not. Listen, those are shame responses. Shame is you are the problem. Guilt is my actions are the problem. And because we learned shame before we learned our name, that voice that comes back and says what the problems are, that sounds just like us, it's not us. It's somebody of authority who is doing what they believe is to protect you. When you start looking at your actions, what are the actions you're going to take today to get out of your hallway? To get out of this big hallway that you've decorated, you've moved the furniture around 100 times. Oh, and by the way, the furniture that's in your hallway, some of it you've ordered. A lot of it got carried in by people of influence in your world. I need to have this many followers. That's a piece of furniture. I need to be at this rank. That's somebody who carried in furniture. I need to be at this weight. That's the furniture. Now, there's some things that were bolted into your hallway. Well, I'm Irish. That was bolted into my hallway. I'm a Murphy. That got bolted into my hallway. We're from Wexford, Ireland. That got bolted into my hallway. The things bolted, the fixtures that were in the hallway. Those are the cultural things that you use as reference points. If you've ever been on a boat and the seas started getting a little rough, what did you grab? You grabbed the fixtures. You didn't grab the furniture. You grabbed the fixtures. You leaned against the wall. You grabbed a handrail. You grabbed a handhold. You wrapped your arm around the back of the chair. You grabbed things that were bolted down. When your life gets tough, when things start to get screwy, when things start to go sideways, you don't grab the furniture in your room. You don't grab the beliefs other people carried in. You don't grab the coffee coasters you bought from Amazon and put in your room, said, I need to read 10 pages of a book every day. If that was a fixture, you'd do it every day. See, you don't hold on to that when the storm shows up. You grab the fixtures, the I'm not good enough. You grab what your mom told you you're not good enough. Your dad told you, and you listen to the guard that wasn't even your parents' guard. Better hang on, it's going to get tough. And so you grab the fixtures, you grab your old beliefs. Now, let's just say for whatever reason, you outrank the guard, you do the work, you do the daily work, you do your self-talk, you do your daily gratitude, you do your missions, you do your daily blessings, you do whatever it is, and you finally outrank the guard, and you get into the new room, and guess where you start at the new room? On the floor. You start at the lowest possible place in any new room you go. Yes or yes? And you're like, I just worked this hard to get to zero. Yeah, it's a new zero. Yeah, I don't see that though. This is, I thought I'd have more. You have nothing when you step into the new room. You bring a lot of stuff with you, but none of your stuff, none of your old stuff fits in the new room. Oh, and by the way, the new room already has furniture in it. It has things they think you should do. Listen, before I was married, I was in the single hallway. Then I got married, and there was a day that I got married, and there was day one of being married. I was in my 30s. How can you start off zero? Well, you have experience, yet you don't have a whole lot of your stuff there. Now, I can tell you, there was a lot of stuff in the hallway of marriage. A lot of things already bolted down in the marriage hallway. And then inside the marriage hallway, we stepped into being a dad hallway. Never been a dad before. 22 years ago, never was a dad. And at 11:45, I stepped out of the hallway into the hallway of unbelievable miracles, being a dad and not having a clue. A lot of things were in the hallway, a lot of fixtures bolted down of what you should do to be a good dad. A lot of those things got ripped out. Things like we don't say no to our child. We say stop, not no. People really didn't like that. They got uncomfortable when they came into the hallway of us raising our child. Like, what? No, please don't say no. Say stop. Well, no, don't do that. No, don't. No, that's not, you don't understand psychology. In our hallway, you say stop for actions. He's not making decisions yet. He's still only doing actions. I say all of this to say, when you start looking around in your hallway and you realize a lot of the furniture that's in there, somebody else carried in, somebody else's belief, somebody else's understanding. When you get to the guard, why do I keep bumping up against this? Why do I keep having this problem? Why can't I get to $10,000 a month? Why can't I get to $20,000 a month? Because there's a guard at the hallway you haven't outranked. All of these things, if it's not about doing certain things, it's about doing things in a certain way, helps you outrank the guard. Change the way you look at things, and the things you look at change, helps you outrank the guard. It's your vibration of where you're at, and the vibration of where you want to arrive at is the difference of why you are not outranking your guard. So when you're tired of being in the hallway, when you finally wake up and realize the hallway you're in is not a comfort zone, it's a pain zone you've become comfortable with, and all of the things you keep trying to put into the hallway, buy new books, buy new tapes, buy new is only going to keep you in the hallway until you learn how to outrank the guard that's standing in front of the door that you put in place. And the guard only wants you to have the confidence to walk through it. That's what I'm here for. And when you're ready to walk up to the guard, flash your badge of authority over your dreams, we should have a conversation. Up until that time, I wish you a safe journey in your hallway. I hope you don't stay there long. The decision is up to you. That's a little bit more of an understanding of the hallway. I'm Sean G. Murphy. You're not broken. You were programmed. And because you were programmed, that you can change. I'll see you where?